What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking Skeleton Crew Episode 4, Can't Say I Remember No Attin, and a little trailer might have dropped today, so we might, have a little talk about that. But before we get into all of that fun, Dave, how's it going, sir?
It's fan-freaking-tastic. I gotta tell you, work has been busy, and I seem to be making extra money this week. I'm not going to complain about it, so I feel pretty good about that. I watched, obviously, I watched the Skeleton Crew.
I would hope so.
Got some mixed feelings about it. I haven't watched Creature Commandos, which came out today.
Which we will be talking about on Sunday. I have not watched it yet either.
Right. We don't have to talk about that till Sunday, so yeah, right. So after the Lions demolish the Bears with only half their team, I'll be watching that. So, how are you doing?
Well, Dave, I am tremendous. It's always just a good time talking Star Wars, DC, Marvel, whatever it is. And we got a treat. I enjoyed this episode of Skeleton Crew. We know Doug did too. And for those of you saying, "Hey, where's Doug tonight?" He's actually on a Lucasfilm retreat where they're trying to come up with some new movies to announce that will never be released. So they really got their work cut out for them right now, and who knows what awesome titles they're going to come up with, which will never see the light of day. But
Battle of the Hordes. Can't wait for that one.
It's going to be awesome. But are you ready to talk a little Skeleton Crew, sir?
Let's do it.
This episode, as I said a moment ago, is called Can't Say I Remember No Attin.
That's a crazy name. I can't believe they would call it something like that. He only said it 4 or 5 times in the episode. What's his name? SM-33?
Yep, SM-33. They arrive at the start of this planet. They use Kim's coordinates. They arrive at a planet they believe is at Attin. It looks similar, but it looks like it has been decimated by war. And of course, the kids wander off, and Jod and SM-33 stay at the ship. And, hijinks ensued on both sides. Now, go ahead.
Very Star Wars. Very Star Wars to do that. Just like the best part of the Return of the Jedi was the end when they had all 3 battles going. I thought that was amazing. So when they do that here, that's always good. And not that you had gotten into it yet, but I don't want to jump ahead. You go ahead and talk, and then I'll when you say something, I'll refer to the scene.
Something.
Okay. So when Fern is leaving the ship, and see, I'm still unsure about Fern. I don't know if she's pulling it off. It just kind of bothers me the way she just puts herself in charge. I don't know, because she's never been off the planet. She's not very worldly, but then again, I don't know. It kind of bothers me.
So let me ask you a question. Near the end of this episode, you see her kind of break down a little bit to Wim and basically say, I'm blowing it. I shouldn't have done this. I should have let you take the lead. Did that help with your opinion of her in any way?
To make her a little more human, you mean?
Yeah.
Like showing human
like
emotions?
We kind of talked about it last week. We thought she was kind of faking it till she makes it, showing confidence, but not necessarily feeling it inside. And I thought that kind of scene kind of confirmed it a little bit. Like, she's trying to act like she's in control, but she's just as scared as everybody else about a lot of things.
Yeah, and to me that seems a little above her age range, but obviously she's from a different planet. They have different responsibilities at their age, so it's possible. I mean, she reeled it in a little bit, and then she went right back into action. And the other hijinks with the best actor on this series, Jude Law, when he's surrounded, when the fog lifted and you saw them all, I was like, oh no, what's gonna? What? I didn't think he would die, but I thought something bad was gonna happen. And he says, just as Doug, Doug mentioned that he this quote cracked him up. Um, was yeah,
Just shoot me.
just shoot. Yeah, and I think we all can feel that, right? At some point, you know. But we'll get to what happened after that in a second.
Yeah, I mean, basically the plot of this episode is the kids go off with the Troinks, who we find out are at war with the Hattins, who stole their beasts of burden. I can't remember what they're called. And then, Neil kind of befriends a young girl, a young warrior girl. The others go train for battle because, to be a part of the clan or whatever, they have to be battle wise. She kind of appreciates Neil's pacifism. And while the other ones are like shooting, machine gun lasers and, worried about their safety when they're like, hey, go take those guns and just practice. And they're like, tish, tish, tish. But
They're not very careful.
yes. But, you find out a little more about Neil and, he's a more sensitive little kid. He's definitely not like the others who were all ready. They wanted to get the guns out and blast them. And then I thought it was funny because the girl, was it Hannah? I think it was Hannah, was like, I want to show you something. And when he's not wanting to blast, she shows him the biggest gun that they got on the planet, like totally misreading the thing. And he was just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great.
Here, have some of my food.
Yeah.
Because he is, I think his name on Stranger Things is Will, right? He's the one who's always like the gentle one, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought of with this representation. Neil is not the guy who would fight. Neil's not the guy who would go to war. Neil is the guy to keep the peace, and he has empathy for others, and that's what this universe needs, and that's why she likes him. When she sees it, it just totally blows her mind that he's not all, go to battle type of thing, and that's cool for me.
And you're right. And you mentioned earlier, too, he had that food and he gave it to those two kids that looked hungry. Because, he's like, oh my God, he would rather be hungry himself than see like kids smaller than him be hungry, which probably has a lot to do with him having younger brothers at home and that. So they really made Neil a great character. They really did a good job sort of fleshing Neil out a little bit. He's not just, the little elephant kid that, was cut in half in the first episode in a mock Jedi battle.
Yeah, definitely a future leader.
Yeah. And then, they finally are done training or whatever, so they're going to go get the flock back. They're walking to battle, and, kids are kind of a little bit nervous, and,
they put him in front. Would you be nervous?
Yes. And then, they see someone coming up, and it's Jod, and he has all of their animals, and it's like, yeah, I bought them all back with those credits. Hey, where did you get those credits?
Well, one thing she didn't ask was, are there any left? I didn't know if she was going to, because they have like 8 of them or something? And he gave them 2, he said, I think, 2. And then she didn't ask if he had kept the rest of them. Maybe they'll come up later. I don't know. Not in this episode.
Yeah, they may come up next episode, but it does. Of course, I was going to say they're probably making it to Attin next episode, but they might not because we know after they got those beasts of burden back, Jod had helped him, and I think, his worth kind of grew in Neil's eyes because he found a non-violent way to solve these problems. They take him to the Fallen Sanctum, which was the supervisor's office, and I was really expecting to maybe learn a little bit more about, what the supervisor is on Attin, but we really didn't see it. We just kind of saw the inside, and it seems like all of these planets were like sister planets, which may be all working towards the great works, all working in unison to do something. Obviously, this planet's destroyed. Attin is behind the barrier and still going strong, but really all we found out was the pirates had been there before, took the coordinates to Attin. That's how they got there, and basically the captain kind of messed with the robot SM-33's mind, so if anybody asked him, he had to say, can't say I remember no Attin, even though it wasn't his memory banks.
So it was good that Fern claimed the captainship because he had to listen to her.
Yep.
And yeah, the freak out at the end did not expect, you know, but the name of this planet that they went to was at Attin.
Yeah.
So this is they were going to make the Imperial walkers there, but they couldn't because the guy sneezed on the second
Hi,
word.
everyone.
How you doing, buddy?
Dave said, "How you doing, buddy?"
I'm doing good, Dave.
You should watch us through that Oculus.
Oh yeah. Hold on. He needs it.
This is the quest too, by the way, guys.
Oh, sorry, the quest.
And can people see this?
People can see it. Well, they can see what's ever on my screen.
Hi. This is my VR, guys.
What is it called? Gods of Gravity?
Yeah. Guys, you should get, if you ever, here's the best building games I recommend. Grab, Yeeps, and Gorilla Tag. You can all build in them.
You got it. You got it
in VR.
straight from the Dinky Soul Man over here. If you
Plus in Yeeps, you can also get this thing that lets you do tag instead of pins.
Is he on the payroll?
Very fun. You can get a Yeep plush in game, and you can abuse it.
If he's not, you should sign him up somehow.
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty
He's
funny.
out here.
Not
he's
only
out here
that, it
pimping
mimics
flowers.
your movement.
It's downloading, buddy. Gods of Gravity.
Well, everybody, watch Skeleton Crew.
Yes, watch Skeleton Crew. You're right,
You see
buddy.
this controller? Mine.
That's not your controller.
Mine.
So he
You
keeps
want to see
giving
me
the thumbs
with
up.
the
So
VR
here you
on.
go. There you go. Can you see these?
Oh, yeah, look. Dave's doing thumbs up.
I can't see.
Well, take
Very well.
Dude, take that off.
No, I can see around.
Well, you couldn't see his thumbs up, is what I was saying.
Well, thank you for that thumbs up.
Wait, do it again, Dave. Hold on. Put your mask off for a minute. Look at all those little thumbs up.
Oh, that's cool. I can kind of see it in the VR,
Oh, cool.
but I can only see green and white.
Okay, do me a favor. When you head back out, close the door,
Okay.
please and thank you.
Don't do it. That is.
Don't knock my computer, buddy.
No, I need to grab this. My fingies.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Whatever it was, you grabbed it. Can you see okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's all right. It's just us right now.
Yep. Back out of tangent time. Thank you, Dinky Soulman, for the quick MetaQuest 2 building apps. Everyone is, I'm sure they're flying off the shelves on the MetaQuest. But we see once, the SM-33 suddenly attacks when they ask him about Attin, and then we find out, Neil was trying to save them when Jod goes in, shuts down SM-33, and then poor Neil passes out of sheer fright.
I like what John said. Why don't you guys ever just shut them off? They can be shut off. I thought it was funny.
He's the only one that knows that, wait, you can turn a robot? What? Once again, that leads into our theory that the robots are kind of running at Attin. That supervisor may be a robot of some kind, almost an AI sentient robot running the planet. And that's why I was hoping to see something, at the Fallen Sanctum that would maybe indicate that the robots are actually in control. They got all the, the camera robots, and everyone, seemingly does whatever the robot says. I don't know if anyone actually knows who the supervisor is or what's going on, or if they're all just assuming, it's someone in control when it's really the robots. But we didn't learn much about Attin. We just learned that for whatever reason, the pirate captain did not want this robot taking anybody there or asking about it or anything else. He wiped out the coordinates, wanted him to attack them if they asked about it. So a little more to the mystery of how the ship got there in the first place, what they were after, and really what the Great Works is all about.
Now, the kids said, this looks like our planet, but it's just gloomy.
Yeah.
All right, so what does that tell you about this planet? Is it like a clone planet? I don't mean like clone troopers. I mean, did they they made a few planets or something, and they arrived at Attin, and that was the best planet they came up with, or
No, I think
what is
that they created these planets in the Old Republic were all built the same to all. I think for the Great Works, they were all working in unison for whatever the Great Works was. Obviously, Attin was hidden behind that barrier, so it has stayed where it's been. But for whatever reason, Attin or whatever it's called wasn't, and it just basically, got destroyed with war. It's almost like, they didn't have any leadership, so they just kind of they were almost like primitive, almost in a way, because they had lost everything. And I don't know. It didn't seem like they had a barrier blocking anyone from getting in. Maybe they just don't have anything, no natural resources or anything anybody wants, so people stay away. But they were almost primitive on this planet with, using old sort of technology like the giant gun and other things. But there was a lot going on there, and kind of I don't know if we spent enough time on the planet. I don't know about you. This planet or this episode just seemed, it's like it just jumped through all the paces as quickly as it could. Outside.
It seemed like it ended fast. Yeah.
Yeah, outside of the Neil, sort of character development we got with him and going on, everything else just seemed to be just get through it as quickly as we can. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the episode, but I just felt like, okay, that all happened really fast. They wrapped it up as quickly as they could, which sometimes I appreciate. Sometimes I'm like, they could have taken a little more time. And I do think this is a little bit of the latter. I think they could have taken a little more time to develop a few more things before, the robot freaked out.
Yeah, it seems like they wanted to have a cliffhanger to end on. I wonder, if the next show is going to pick up right there, and if so, could it have been how the Bad Batch released a couple episodes that all seem to make sense together? They maybe could have done that with this if the next one starts up right there, or they could have made the episode. What was it, 34 minutes this week?
Yeah, I think so.
They could have added a few more minutes to it,
Well, and where the Bad Batch was very episodic, this just seems to every week ends on a cliffhanger, so they can go in to the next episode. This isn't like where it's just, hey, here's an episode, we do this, and then the next episode they're doing something kind of ties together. This is just kind of one story that they're, cutting off at cliffhangery points, and it's very. I shouldn't say the other one's more episodic, but more singular stories per episode. Where this is just each episode is just continuing the same story. And
yeah, like the Mandalorian in the first season, they would have a complete thought and then move on, but there'd still be the underlying plot for the whole season, but they would have a complete thought in each show, and that's why the length's varied. And like you're saying here, it's not the same. It's not like a TV show. It's like a movie that's chopped up. And I don't know. I don't know who the showrunner is. Is it John Watts? You said.
Yeah.
John Watts, and has he made TV shows before?
Yeah, that I don't know, but see, I think this feels like a TV show. I mean, it's a complete story, but this probably wrapped up the Attin sort of storyline. Obviously, the robot is not, but they're probably going to leave, at the beginning of the next episode to try to find Attin or find some more information. The episode before was them visiting, Kim. Episode before that was, they seem to all have a complete tale within the big chunk of whatever they're trying to tell us over the 8 episodes, because we're halfway through, and obviously they haven't made it back to Attin. And for me, the biggest mystery I want to know is what exactly is going on at Attin. It seems like we could spend a few more episodes delving into that. And once again, I'm going to go back. We saw that whatever looked like a treasure room from the trailer, and I'm assuming that's at Attin. Because unless it's another one of the sister planets, because it's there was 6 or 8 different poles with planet names with coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if something along those lines are going to tie in. They could even stay here the next episode and maybe find out something within the Fallen Sanctum to lead them to something on this planet that was part of the Great Works that maybe, the AT-ATs, they build the legs to the AT-ATs here, and then they get shipped to somewhere else.
Right.
But there may be more to the mystery of what's going on these sister planets, and especially at Attin, to find while they're still here. So since we didn't see them leave, because a lot of the times like they leave at the end of the episode, then a new episode starts off where they're arriving. This didn't do that. This ended with them basically turning off the robot and saying, okay, what do we do now?
Right. That's what I mean about, if it starts in the same spot. I don't think it'll start right there because the robot's turned off. But, I got a feeling they're not going to end up back on it until that last episode. I think it's going to be kind of like all the things that they go through on the way there, like kind of like the Mandalorian did. But like they're going to hit these other planets, and they're all their names are close to Attin, right?
Yeah, they all started with like at, and then it was at Dave Kinchin, at Doug McLean, at.
Yeah. So yeah, they're gonna make a stop at all of our houses and make sure we're doing all right, and make sure we're not picking our noses. But they're gonna go through there and they're gonna find out what each one, whether they want to or not. I think, and then they're finally gonna reach their spot at the end. And he, like Jude Law said, what did he say? I'm gonna get you back to your planet. That's what you want, and I'm gonna get maybe a little reward. That'll be what I want. But from what he said, didn't he say? Maybe I remember it wrong, but didn't he say that like it's a complete story, so maybe his character doesn't make it, at the end of this story. Maybe he gets him back and he realizes, or he gets killed in the act of bringing him back there.
Yeah. Or we know the pirates are probably still after them because they did leave, that base blowing a bunch of stuff up. And, I'm sure, what was the wolf guy's name again? Brutus. Brutus.
Yes.
I'm sure Brutus wants to get his hands on Crimson Jack and pay him back. He's probably pretty angry about it. Then you also have Kim's, whoever she called those security forces, probably want to get a hold of him too, because if he left with even though we know that wasn't the actual coordinates to Attin, they don't know that. So if everybody knows this story about the treasures of Attin, there may be the pirates, whoever the security force for Kim was, maybe even Kim, just because she was such a like a scholar for knowledge, she would want to know what's there. So there's probably a lot of people after him. So not only do they have to find Attin, but they're probably going to run into the pirates again and possibly Kim's forces. So, he could perish. If this is one complete story, he could perish near the end, saving him from the pirates or something else. Or he may, decide he loves Attin and he's going to stay there and live, be a part of the great works.
Right. Give up everything else.
The pirate life is no longer for him. He wants to be an analyst.
Yeah. He's gonna go back to school at Attin. He's gonna get his degree, and he's gonna take care of the numbers.
He's gonna be sitting next to Neil in class. Psst, Neil, what's the answer to 4? John, stop it. Stop cheating.
Then his notebook just floats up in the air. It's the answer. Yeah.
They
didn't display Jedi powers here.
I was going to say the same thing. We have only seen his supposed Jedi powers back in the prison. So did he do something to sort of make it look like he has Jedi powers, like some tricks? Or, because we didn't see it, it was off screen, did he use some sort of the mind trick to kind of convince them to get the pets back? And maybe he didn't really give them any money at all, and he's keeping it for himself. He's like, I had to give him some of that money. But it seems odd that, one, they would care about Old Republic credits because they don't seem like they have a monetary system there. And two, that he was so easily, here's some money, let me take those all back to the other group and you guys can stop fighting. It almost seemed too easy. So I think we could find out that he did, isn't a Jedi per se, but force sensitive and trained, to do certain things like, grab items, Jedi mind trick people. I shouldn't call it Jedi mind trick, just mind trick. And maybe he has a few other.
Wouldn't you think that if, like when he brought the animals back and they said, "How did you get them?" and he said, "Oh, I just paid them with these credits I had." Don't you think the other guys, the Troinks, would say, "Money is worthless here. Why would they take that?"
Yeah, that's what I didn't really. But maybe it isn't, because if it is the same sort, if it's the sister planet to Attin, maybe they have the same credits there that they use somewhere else. Because we only saw a small part of the planet, so who knows what else is going on elsewhere? They kind of make it seem like this is how the whole planet is, but we only honestly saw a small portion of it. But it did seem like credits meant nothing to them. They weren't asking for credits when they fed them or shot the guns. It was all about, hey, we got to go get, those Hattins because they stole our animals, so let's go blast them. That's what makes me think maybe it's a mind trick of some part on John's.
And I like the Neil's take on that. I mean, what are you going to do? You're just going to keep fighting back and forth. It's never going to end. They're going to well, he didn't say piss off, but they're going to piss you off. Yeah. You're going to piss them off. It's just going to keep going. What good is that? And, that's why I see him as a future leader. Hopefully, he grows into a role. Like, he could be hanging out with Grogu for all I know.
We could see him in the Filoni movie, leading a battalion of somethings. Or he could be he could be a fighter pilot. Maybe he'll be in Rogue Squadron. He will.
But he's against fighting.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
He'd be more like a Mon Mothma type, just a negotiator, but a good negotiator.
Are you calling Mon Mothma not a good negotiator?
Well, no, I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay. You said like Mon Mothma, but he would be a good negotiator.
Is she hearing me right now?
She is. She's watching. You're getting 50 demerits. No, but that's a good call. I mean, we could see all of these kids grow in. We don't know what's going to happen to Attin at the end, if they're freed from droid control, or if the New Republic or the First Order finds out, there is something there that they can weaponize. They may try to grab it, or it'd be better yet if Thrawn got a hold of it, and then we see, him using it against the New Republic in the Filoni movie coming up, or maybe even the Mandalorian and Grogu. We get hints at it after Skeleton Crew. That would be cool.
I mean, Thrawn is not inexperienced at going to different galaxies.
He's not. But this isn't a different galaxy. This is, I do believe, it's a hidden planet in the main galaxy, though.
It's not just the coordinates that are hidden. It's it's hidden from galaxial. I don't know what the word is. It's a black hole where that is. They wouldn't.
Well, because of the barrier, nobody knows where it is. Nobody knows where it's at.
Like, even if you're right on it, they're not going to know they're there. But
I think if they're right on it, they would know a planet's there.
Well, if they were on the planet,
it's not any of. It's not any. It's
if
not.
They're orbiting, and they can. Did I lose internet?
No, you're still here.
Oh no!
You're still here. Oh, there he goes. I don't know if Dave is going to be back with us. Oh, there he is.
Not a good time for the internet to go out. With only two of us here.
It didn't. You were like, did my internet go out? Oh no, what a terrible time. And I'm like, your internet didn't go out. Then all of a sudden you went.
Yeah, well, when I said that, at least you weren't moving. Forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about them being on the planet and not being able to see it. No,
yeah. Like, if they were out in space near the planet, they still wouldn't be able to see it.
Right, like the barrier probably stops them from being able to scan it and stuff. And it's not on any star charts anymore, so nobody really knows where it's at. They probably, in the Old Republic, wanted to hide it from anybody finding it, to be honest, if they're doing something that they deemed, necessary for the survival of the Old Republic, which, bad news, it didn't survive, so.
Right.
But
if anybody can find it, it would be Thrawn. He's a genius, and if you need something from it, with the lost my train of thought.
Well, and it could be something easy
stopped.
as, they get back to AT-AT and find out that it's some sort of droid control, take it down, bring down the barrier, because they're like, the kids get back and like, there was a war, there was an empire, and now there's a new republic. Alderaan was destroyed. They're like, what is going on, And they're like,
6 million people on Alderaan.
They find out the Great Works was doing, something for the betterment of the Old Republic, and they may want, much like Wakanda at the end of Black Panther, open up the planet to trade and, bring about everything. And Thrawn may know about the history of AT-AT and know something's there. Or maybe Jod helps his pirate buddies to save his own life, gets his pirate buddies over there to the treasure room, and, he gets back in good with Brutus and his gang because they steal that treasure after their initial heist went horribly wrong in the first episode.
Well, I don't know. I can't predict. I'm not good at predicting anyway, but I can't really read which way this is going, except for the fact that I think they're not gonna get back to the planet until the last episode, just because that would be a good last episode.
I almost, if they do that, I hope it's a longer episode, because I do think there's a lot they can learn in these next few episodes about AT-AT and do something when they get there. Free them from droid control, or talk about the Great Works, talk about their adventure. Like, oh my God, it was great out there. All of you Stepford wives here on AT-AT and just going about your work. There's a galaxy to explore, and it really makes me wonder, because there's such a diverse aliens on AT-AT. It's not like it's just, all humans or all, Ithorians, the hammerhead shark guys, or it's everybody. So obviously it's almost like they purposely populated that planet with the right people to do all the jobs for the great work. They knew what they were doing, and then, locked them away, and then the Old Republic fell, and
nobody told them.
Yeah, nobody knew about it. It was lost until now.
Yeah. So yeah, that would make sense. They put all the docile species there that can do the paperwork, basically.
Yep. Well, and it's not just the paper.
The ones that enjoy that kind of work, that, whatever they're putting together, throwing the AT-ATs together, and, they put them all on this planet, and they shelter them because, you can't be blowing up AT-ATs when they're building them.
You really can't. That is very true.
And they won't happen.
So, we're going to find out here in a couple episodes. I really, it's shocking to me that this is half over, because I do like it. I am enjoying it, and I hope, it's not anything mind-blowing. It's not Andor. It's not The Penguin, but it's entertaining. It's good stuff. I watch it and I'm entertained. I'm not looking at my phone, maybe occasionally, but I pause it. And it's leading up, and I hope it's leading up to something good, because, all the little mysteries, all the little tidbits they've left us, all the little breadcrumbs, with the robots on AT-AT and seemingly in control, the humans kind of do their bidding, it seems like. The Great Barrier was set up, Kim was like all fascinated by it. All the pirates know about the lost treasure on AT-AT, and, whatever that may be. It could be weapons, it could be, gold credits, whatever it's going to be. So they're building up to a lot, and I hope they,
stick the landing.
Something quality, something interesting, and maybe even something they can build on in other movies, other television shows, whatever they're going to do, just do something good. And it seems like they're building towards it.
Yeah, don't pull an acolyte. Don't
God,
blow it at the end. Don't have your best episode as episode number 5. Pull it off. Don't um penguin it, baby.
that's right. Penguin, that shit.
That's the new statement from this channel. We're gonna call it penguining it.
Yes, for those of you
No,
who think we don't like anything anymore, we all love the penguin.
that's right. I wish we had a third opinion out here, but those Lucasfilm retreats can take it out of you.
Yeah, they can really soak up the time. Well, I mean, I don't really have anything more to say. I do think we've talked about what we think is next. Getting back to Attin and finding stuff out, getting getting chased by the pirates, getting chased by Kim's people. They got a lot of people on their tail, and especially with them flashing the New Republic or the Old Republic credits almost everywhere they go, talking about being from Attin, and everyone knows the stories of the lost treasure of Attin. They're going to have a lot of people hunting them down, so that's going to be coming in the next couple episodes, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that'd be interesting to see if they can all. It's like a Dukes of Hazzard, where you end up with everybody on your tail, everybody in the county.
Well,
But can they disappear?
they're just the good old
Or
boys.
will they disappear behind the shield of Attin, or will these pirates and other followers be able to follow them?
No, that is an excellent question, because if they can get back to Attin and basically be hidden from them, or are they, when they get back, is it going to open it up to everybody, kind of being there?
Right. Well, we could read Doug's rating and his words, and then I'll go to my rating.
We
You want?
definitely could.
You're frozen. Nope, nope, no, you're not.
No, I'm not frozen.
No, on my end.
Oh, got it. Do you want to read
Uh,
Doug's rating?
sure.
Okay.
Doug is going to rate this episode an 8, and he said it's an excellent episode. We need to protect Neil at all costs. Like I said earlier, he laughed out loud when he says, "You know what? Just shoot me," because he felt that. I think all of us have felt that at one point or another. So, 8 out of 10 from Doug. Interesting. I will take the next one, and I tell you what, I think I gave last week's episode a 7, and thought it was building up, but this one I don't think was as good as last week's. And I know it's advancing the story, but I had a few choppy moments where I already mentioned them earlier. Yeah, you know what? But having the conversation with you, I mean, really getting tired of what I was seeing from Fern earlier. But like, yeah, you're right. She did break down. She did reel it in a little bit, come back to earth a little bit, and she did figure out that she needed to command SM-33 to give them that information. So that was a good part of the show. And obviously the show was focused on Neil and his pacifism, and yeah, I think he's going to be a good leader. As far as, and of course, I really liked Jude Law in this episode. Did a good job. At the same time, he's being goofy. You could tell he's kind of up to something, and it's like scoundrelly, but it's he's not. He's still a little more goofy than like Han Solo would be. So I don't know. Overall, for this show, I think I'm gonna give it a 6. It's not as good as last week. I was still entertained, but it's just a little bit above average.
See, I definitely agree. Like Doug gave it, I can't remember what Doug gave it last week. I liked this episode, but I don't think it was as good as last week's either. It had a lot of really good elements. I liked. It felt very Star Warsy, like we talked about earlier, with them splitting up and they're going on their own adventures and all that stuff. I thought the Neil storyline was really well done, and really like that character and how they're building it up. I thought Fern at the end kind of breaking down, sort of being like I don't think I'm made for this, and Wim kind of talking her up like, yeah, you're doing great. We wouldn't be this far without you. The mystery of Attin and SM-33 and his old crew, why they were there, why that the pirate captain didn't want anyone to find it. And basically, if anyone asked, first the robot was, I don't know, can't say I remember no Attin. We do have to say it as many times as they said it in the episode, so I think that's our last time. And then, actually try to attack the people if they were asked to go there. So something happened that the pirate didn't want anyone else to get there, but whether it's he didn't want to give up the treasure, but if he knew he was dying and set the robot with this, why would he care? So there's a good little mystery going on, and it keeps building up. We get a little more. And you're right, Jude Law's character is the best part of this show. He is such a good actor. He really has created a character that feels very lovable, but has sort of a dark side too, but he's good at, doing the right thing. He's almost, we'll say, Loki-esque. If it benefits him, he's going to do it and he's going to help people. That's at least what it seems like. And, just, the comedic timing of, just shoot me. Or all the things that he does, just the interactions he has. It must be difficult to act with kids, with puppets, with CGI and stuff. And he does it flawlessly. And it really is good. So for that, I'm going to, because I think I gave last week's an 8. I'm going to give this a 7.5. I did enjoy it. My big gripe, which I talked about earlier, felt rushed. It felt like they were just jumping through those hoops as quickly as they could. They didn't pause and let anything build. They just hit those plot points and moved on. And I'm hoping that, we get a little more time for things to develop in future episodes. But hey, chatters, what do you guys think? What do you rate this episode? Are you enjoying Skeleton Crew? I know that it has not cracked the top 10 yet on the streaming, streaming Nielsen's or whatever you're going to call it, which is disappointing because this has been a good show. And definitely, kids, my MetaQuest loving son, is definitely going to watch it with me and he's excited. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I was going to say, you just triggered something in my thoughts there about the dialogue. At least the dialogue is better than I watched this movie, The Gray Man, yesterday. Sierra got here yesterday, and we sat up watching the movie, and she said, "Hey, have you seen The Gray Man with Chris Evans?" So I was watching it, and there were some scenes in there where they were just walking you through the plot, and as far as the dialogue goes, and that. I don't like. I like it when they put it in like regular terms, like me talking to you. When you can't tell that they're walking you through the plot. They don't. I haven't noticed that on this show. It seems like they're having regular conversations. They're not just leading each other to yes, we need to jump on the ship and get over here. They're not doing that. So
yeah, they're not doing exposition through dialogue. Which is okay at times, but you can't do it too much or it just kind of takes away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's times where it's needed, but it hasn't been on this show.
Yeah, they've done a good job. The plot has been good. Dialogue has been good. Acting has been good. The kids being annoying is not bad acting on their part. It's just they're supposed to be annoying kids because sometimes, not mine, of course, kids can be a bit annoying at times. So, especially if they're...
Never.
But it isn't like, other things where we've watched and it's like you feel bad for the kid because they're, acting with Jude Law. You could really look bad in those scenes. And they haven't looked bad. He's obviously shined, but they haven't, at least to me, haven't stood out where I'm like, oh, that's rough. They've done a good job. And I think that has a lot to do with the directors and how the writing has gone, and
Yeah, again, it's not the acolyte, but those kids were not up to the task. Let's just say that.
And they were older kids. I mean, that was just bad writing and directing on that show. It's unfortunate.
Yep, no Plagueis in our future, at least not from them.
Yeah.
So,
who knows where the future of Star Wars is going to go? Because obviously we talked about this. It's not, cracking the top 10. for the Nielsen's, which is not a great sign. I don't know how much this cost. Now, where The Acolyte was so tremendously expensive to make, I don't know what this is. You know, the CGI looks good. All the effects looks pretty good. It hasn't, you know, looked cheap, but we have no idea how much it costs to make. So, you know, this could be a success for Lucasfilm. And I hope it's like Andor. Because the reason Andor, you know, got that second season, why it was renewed so quickly, is because the viewer, you know, good word of mouth and the viewership kept going up every episode. And I'm hoping that's what happens with this. Because it's good. You know what? If you haven't started Skeleton Crew, go out and watch it. It's worth your time. You'll have a good time. And you got 4 episodes you can binge at this point. You know, you want to wait till next week, then you got 5 episodes. But, you know.
And they're neither too long or too short.
Yep.
So just watch them.
100%. All right. Are you ready for what we have next?
I believe I am.
The trailer for Superman dropped today. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Dave, but man, it looked great. I'm very excited to see this movie. My hype level has jumped off through the charts just seeing what we saw. And we got a little tidbit of all the heroes that are going to be in it. You know, we got shots of them all, and we'll talk about it as we watch it, but didn't really give up too much, you know. I think for the most part, it just did a good job of showing us the actors playing these roles.
True. Yeah, it didn't raise my hype level at all. I am excited about this movie because you know, I loved Smallville. You hit the button if you like. And I love the works of James Gunn. So I don't know how they're gonna mix because he usually writes the misfit characters. So, but obviously we saw we're about to see. Are we gonna see it? Are we gonna go along with it?
Yeah, we're going to see it.
Okay.
We're going to see it.
Really,
We're going to see tonight if DC Studios lets us show their trailers without getting
That's right.
copyright hits. So
we'll see.
cross your fingers, everybody. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
You know, for whatever reason, it's nice seeing Superman being beaten up, looking bruised, bloody, like he's going to have something that will challenge him. Because it really does not do well for the character when, I always call it, you know, Steven Seagal-isms. Because if you've ever seen a Steven Seagal film, and I'm not suggesting you do, but if you have happened to have seen one, it's like no one can even challenge him. He's such an egomaniac. Like, he just takes care of everybody without even breaking a sweat. And there's no drama in that. There's nothing interesting about just seeing a guy beating everybody up, except if you're Steven Seagal and you just have such a fun time watching you know, beat everybody up and thinking, I'm the greatest martial artist of all time. So I think this sets up nicely that, hey, this Superman is going to be challenged in this film. It is going to...
It's that he's bleeding, all right? Because, you know, it takes an otherworldly being to make him. So we'll have to see who this being is.
Well, I do think we get a shot of who it is. But let's watch a little more. You know, we did see a little bit of him as Clark Kent, which I do like the look. You know, he's got kind of the kind of puffed up hair a little bit. You know, he's got the glasses. And I know James Gunn has said, you know, he really took from all the Superman movies, including Zack Snyder's, and took things out. It really does look like David Cornsweet's Clark Kent is going to be very much like Christopher Reeve's Clark Kent. He's just kind of like, you know, hey, you know, kind of bumbling, kind of playing the bumbling fool almost and stuff, and just kind of walking around and seeming like he's not noticing things. And I'm all for it. I thought Christopher Reeve's Clark Kent was the best that we've gotten in the movies.
In the movies.
I put that in there because I didn't want to argue with you about because that is what James Gunn does so well, is bring kind of that heart and emotion into things. And you seeing him with Pa Kent there, and I don't know if that's going to be a flashback, like if Pa Kent has already passed away in this universe. And obviously it's from something that Superman couldn't save him from. Definitely not a tornado. It's going to be something, you know, like all the other times. It's, he's not a doctor. His dad has a heart attack and he can't save him. So, it sticks with him. And that looked like, he was having a fond memory of his father. Or it hasn't happened yet, and maybe happens this movie or something, we don't know. But
it's not going to be another origin story, so probably I'm guessing flashback.
That's my thought exactly too. Now, when you first saw that and he whistled and you saw that thing coming to him, what did you think it was?
Oh, I knew what it was.
Oh, you knew it was Crypto?
I knew Crypto was going to be in the movie, so I don't know.
I did too. But when I first saw it, I was like, what the heck? And my first thought was something from the Fortress of Solitude. Because he's obviously, it looks like he's in the Arctic. And I'm like, is this one of the robots that he has at the Fortress of Solitude coming to get him? So I was pretty happy when it turned out to be Crypto. So,
well, that's where Crypto is. He's hanging out at the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, where else would he be? Of course.
Right.
And I just want to pause it here for a second too, because this scene looks so incredibly shot, showing him saving that little girl and all the stuff going on behind him and how it comes out. I've watched this scene like frame by frame because looks so beautiful, so well done. Shot of Lex Luthor and Nicholas Hoult. We get the Luthor Corp logo right there, which is pretty good. We get that scene.
Already 100 times better than Jesse Eisenberg. Sorry, I like Jesse Eisenberg as an actor. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's funny because I don't know if you saw this. Jesse Eisenberg was talking about his role as Lex, and he said because of the negativity around it, he has lost roles because of it. And as much as I disliked his portrayal of Lex, I don't think it was him. I think it was the director. You should be like this. And Jesse Eisenberg, okay, hey, you're the director, I'll do it. Because he is a fine actor. But this 100% is what I expect of Lex Luthor.
This is what having a director who understands a character does.
Yep. That's what gets me. And this scene, like the kid raising up the flag, I'm like, what could be doing this? Why? Where are they? What is going on that the kid raises a Superman flag? Is it like a rebellion somewhere? What's that? I was like watching that going, I have no idea. And then Tundra Walker pointed something out here on this scene. If you look at his face, it's like he was wearing a mask over his mouth when whatever happened. Because look how dirty the rest of his face looks. But Yeah. He pointed that out to me today after he watched it. And I was like, I didn't even notice that. But it does look like, obviously, it looks like, I don't know if blue paint or something hit him or what's going on but he was definitely wearing like a breathing apparatus or something before the scene because the rest of his face is pretty dirty and his mouth and the surrounding area is pretty clean. And obviously people are pretty upset with Superman at this Bag Industries. And then we get our first look at Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner.
That hair is ridiculous.
That hair
but it's accurate.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And our co-host, who's not here tonight, Doug, was pretty upset about his inclusion. He said he's the worst Green Lantern. But I think the reason James Gunn put him in is because he's the character that Superman can be like, being a hero is this, not what you're doing. And it won't take down Hal Jordan, it won't take down Jon Stewart in any way. He can take a character that is very egotistical, very, very sure of himself, very conceited pretty much on how good he is. And Superman can be the person that Superman shows, this is how you be a hero. This is what you do. And I think that's why I think pretty smartly James Gunn included Guy Gardner in this role. I also think it's for another reason, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We see Hawk Girl, which she looks fantastic in this scene. I love seeing her fly through the air like that. So much about this trailer just looks great. And then we see Superman fighting a kaiju, and then we see Superman and Lois with something going on in the background. I don't know if it's War World or something like that. Lots going on in this film. We get him tending to a robot, which I assume is from the Fortress of Solitude. Seemingly someone defeated it. We get Metamorpho, our first look at Metamorpho here, which looks pretty good. And James Gunn did say it would be mostly practical effects, and it does look that way, and it looks fantastic. See building falling. We get another look at Lex, very menacing, very well done. With Superman sitting there, Krypto bringing him back, and this is what I wanted to talk about. This. A lot of people were saying online it looked like Superman was fighting Mr. Terrific, but I think this is Ultraman. There's been rumors that, excuse me, that Lex Luthor was basically going to create a clone of Superman that was going to be basically like Ultraman, which in the comics he's from another universe. He's like Superman from that universe. But I think this is going to be a clone that Lex Luthor creates that basically can go toe-to-toe with Superman. And that is why he ends up bloody and battered. The what?
A Doomsday type.
Well, I wouldn't say Doomsday. It's more like a Superman clone, almost like a Bizarro, but without all the backwardsness.
Well, in the way that Lex Luthor created him.
Well, Lex Luthor didn't create Doomsday in the comics.
Well, I mean, no, not in the comics, no. But in several public movies, he used, like in the stupid Zack Snyder version.
Yep.
And that could be the thing. You said he's taking a little bit from each movie. Maybe he's taking that.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely could. You know what? That's a good point. I always thought, like, in the teaser for the teaser that we got yesterday, when you see Superman blasting off, that reminded me a little bit of Man of Steel and how Superman was kind of blasting off into space. So, but it could be, we could see Lex Luthor creating like a Doomsday type clone of Superman that, gets out of control. He didn't quite perfect it or something along those lines. And then we get our shot of Mr. Terrific, which I am happy he's in this movie. He's, a super genius. He's got all this stuff going on, and he was a part of Justice League International, which so was Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner. Metamorpho was not. But, and the reason I say that is at one point in the comics, Maxwell Lord was kind of funding the Justice League International. He was like funding the team and trying to get them all. And we all know Sean Gunn has been cast as Maxwell Lord. So I got a feeling we are going to see that character in this movie, and he is going to be sort of at the front of funding these characters. Superman's not a part of the team, but they're going to help him. And slowly but surely, Maxwell Lord is probably going to turn into a villain. Well, I shouldn't say turn into a villain, but his villainous side will be revealed. And then obviously, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, and all of them will probably turn on him. But I thought, since we already know who was cast, he's definitely going to play a part in some way in this movie. And that's the only thing I can think of that kind of ties the characters he picked with the, comic character. But we'll see. I'm extremely excited for this. I thought it looked great. I thought all of the themes looked good. All the characters look good. Lex Luthor looks like he is going to be the Lex Luthor that we want and need. So fired up for this.
Well, my hype level was already at like an 8 or a 9. But if it was going to raise up a little bit, I would like to know a little bit about the plot. But that he really gave away nothing in there about what's going to happen in the movie. A bunch of shots of what he's going through, but we don't know the plot, which is kind of I don't want to know the plot when I see the movie, but I'd like to know a little bit about it if I'm going to raise my hype level.
Yeah, we know he's going to fight a fire-breathing kaiju at one point. We know he's going to be fighting someone who looks like in a football stadium. We saw the shots of Hawkgirl. We saw Guy Gardner. We saw him using his ring, but nothing was really given away. We know at one point the crowd is kind of against Superman for whatever reason, and I wonder if it's
Got that little curl in his hair.
oh, he does. That looks great. But I wonder if it's Maxwell Lord kind of turning the people, Maxwell Lord and Lex Luthor kind of turning the people against Superman. Handle it a little better than they did in Man of Steel. Be a little more subtle about it and really. And then you see the kid raising the Superman flag when people are realizing, what, I am, a symbol of hope. I may be ultra powerful, but I am going to, do whatever I can to help anyone I can whenever I can. And you see him saving that girl, and that, is something that I think was definitely missed from Man of Steel, his heroic nature.
I bet that happens in the middle of a battle too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because that even happened on Smallville. They have that in the theme that's playing right now. That's the opening sequence in the show where the meteors were crashing down on Earth, and he's trying to get around and save everybody. And stops and saves his kid because that's what Superman does. It's within his range; he'll do it.
he will get injured and suffer to save other people. He takes that risk because he can, and that's what it seems like we're getting in this movie. I mean,
That's what Pa Kent really wanted. He didn't want to die in a tornado. He wanted Clark to save that bus full of students, and whether he got caught or not, it didn't matter. But it was the right thing to do. That's Superman. That's what Pa Kent, right?
He does the right thing no matter what the cost to himself.
Yep.
And he always finds a way to do the right thing. He doesn't say, "There's no way out. I better kill Zod."
Yep. He would not snap his neck. He would put him in the Phantom Zone.
Yep. So, yeah. And it's funny because, you said your hype level was already at an 8. Mine was a little lower because of kind of what we talked about earlier. What James Gunn is really good at writing the misfits and stuff. Superman's not a misfit. But this pretty much confirmed that this is going to be the Superman I want to see. It'll be much more along the lines of the Christopher Reeve Superman with elements from other things thrown in, which, I'm all for. The way he flew in Man of Steel, 100%. Nothing against that. It wasn't, the effects weren't what I was against Man of Steel for. It was more how the character was portrayed. And it looks like he's nailing all the beats. All the characters look great. Mr. Terrific, which is such a, an odd uniformed superhero with the T on his face and just wearing the black leather, looks good. Hawkgirl looks tremendous. Guy Gardner, even with his goofy bowl cut, looks good, and the effects of his ring look good. It's a brighter movie. It's not all dark colors and stuff. It's what Superman should be: hope, brightness, things like that. When we get to the Batman movie, hopefully it's a little darker. It's what that character is, and this character is hope, and that's what I got from this trailer.
Yeah, and that was Zack Snyder's big mistake, was to make another Batman movie, but with Superman. Superman is not dark, and one of the ways about that Christopher Reeve played him was calm, confident, even in the middle of the battle. He stopped and have a conversation with Zod and didn't sound winded or upset. And that's the kind of man Superman is. He knows he can handle any situation.
Yep. All right. Anyone in the chat, you want to give us your thoughts on the trailer? I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot more about this movie in the next, 7 months, because we have a lot of time till it comes out. But I'm happy they dropped the trailer when they did. It was nice.
Yeah, if we get another, I might be able to put together a theory palooza, because right now I can't tell.
Yeah, there's going to be giant kaijus, and there's going to be fighting, and Crypto is going to take them home. I think that should be our outro all the time now. Crypto, take us home, and we have a little animated dog running past.
That's not a bad idea.
As long as DC Studios doesn't crack down on us using their images.
Yeah, all we're gonna get out of this is probably the what you're looking at on the screen right now. We're probably gonna edit out all the preview.
I hope not, but yeah, you're probably right.
It's like free advertising for them. I don't understand it, but
I'm hoping it's not, but if it is, if we do get this little copyright, it's not a strike, but a copyright claim, I'll definitely be reaching out to Mr. James Gunn on Threads tomorrow, telling him, "Stop this, sir. Let us talk about your movie." Because, Disney doesn't mind it. Amazon Prime doesn't mind us using their videos, but Sony and Warner Brothers definitely does.
Sony and Warner Brothers are the ones who are putting out the bad movies lately. Go figure.
Well, just think, if they wouldn't have pulled down our Craven trailer breakdown, it probably would have made like 13 million last weekend.
Yeah, at least.
You lost money, Sony. Who's laughing now? Definitely not us, because we sat through Craven. No, it was actually, I shouldn't joke. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
But still, I think the reason I guess we're on tangent time. The reason that Craven failed so hard wasn't because of itself. It was because of everything that led up to it. And, for this to be an average movie at the very end of that screen, no one's going to go see it anyway. So, I get it.
A lot of people, you're right, don't want to waste their time doing, or shouldn't waste their time and money. Nothing's going to come of it. And honestly, I'm glad we saw it. I think when it comes on TV, I'll probably watch parts of it again. But if we can get these movies out of Sony hands and get some better movies, the Penguin aside, we don't need to see movies about villains without the heroes that they fight. And now I say that with the DCU coming out with a Clayface movie, which I hope it is on the same level as the Penguin. But once again, I think that should be the exclusion, not the rule. I mean, we don't want to see villain movies. We want to see villains in the hero movie. We don't want to see villain movies per se.
Yeah, I mean, the Joker, everybody seemed to like. I didn't like it. But definitely the second one was a big mistake.
Yeah, they failed miserably at that one. But, hey, we're not studio execs. What do we know? What would sell tickets, darn it? Hire us.
Yeah. We made a movie that made $13 million. I don't know if we can do better. I don't know.
We probably could.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
We would at least, try to do the right thing. And I don't think Sony cares. Sony, just like we've always talked about, executives thinking they know what's good. Hey, this is popular. Let's add this in, or let's do this. So, and with Sony, it's all, let's get a Sinister Six movie out. So we're just going to have, since we let Spider-Man be in the MCU, we'll just come out with villain movies, and it'll be sweet. And, Venom made good money, but Madam Web failed, Morbius failed, and now Craven has failed. So,
and Venom just got worse as they went. So.
Yep, you're right. First one I enjoyed. Second one I was like, okay, that's fine. Third one was just a complete waste of time at the theater.
Yeah. They definitely lost some hope. But I heard other things. Like I heard that they were just gonna, scrap this universe and start over. And I don't think I've heard that from an official source, but I think that would be a horrible idea. I did read that, like what you're saying, there's a possibility they could sell it back to the MCU. That would be amazing. Amazing Spider-Man. That would be great. Then they could do all the victims right. The victims. I meant villains. They would do all the villains right. They could lead to like.
Did you freeze, Dave? I think Dave froze. So, yeah, what he was talking, there are a couple things out there that they think is happening. Some people are saying that Sony is kind of giving up on the superhero movies. They think it is a thing of the past, and they're going to sell back the IP, basically the Spider-Man rights, to Disney, which would be good. And the other theory that Dave was talking about is some people think they're going to basically reboot their Spider-Man universe, maybe hire their own Spider-Man actor, or maybe have Tom Holland or Andrew Garfield, be the Spider-Man in it. So it'll be interesting to see where they go, because they definitely have to scrap what they're doing now, because they are losing lots of money.
And they gotta stop trying to do what they think is like, hey, that'll catch people's eye or whatever. Just get a good story first. One thing I was saying about like that movie I saw last night, The Gray Man, is like, all right, I thought it was a good movie. I'm like, if you stick superheroes in this movie, if you carefully rewrite some parts and you get the good story first, and then you can insert your superheroes. You'll have to tweak it a little bit to whatever their strengths are, but I think that's a good idea. You start with a good story, then you work in your heroes.
Yep. And it is what James Gunn has been saying he's doing for the DCU. Nothing's getting greenlit until he has a good script. And it's funny because in the interview yesterday, where was it? Or was it a couple weeks ago? Can't keep track. He's been in so many interviews, but he said he didn't expect the second movie in the DCU to be Supergirl, but he was so blown away by the script, and there was nothing, no other scripts that were done to, his satisfaction level to greenlit, that he's like, I didn't expect it to be the second movie, but it's going to be. And that's what we need, instead of, love Marvel, but them saying, here's what our movies are going to be 7 years down the road without a script or anything else, probably is not the right business model. They did a really good job of it on the first 3 phases, and maybe they can get back to it. But I do like how James Gunn is handling it. Hey, give me a script and we'll do it. We're building a world. We're not just building one story. Not everything has to be super interconnected. This is a giant universe, and things can be going on, and we'll have big events, but not everything has to be about that. So let's hope it's super successful so other studios take that approach.
Yeah, and then when you finally do a crossover, it's going to be a lot more depth to the characters, a lot more depth to the world. And, not everything is a crossover event in the comics. So they all have great individual stories. So I like the way he's doing it. It's the most important feature of any movie is the story.
Yep. You can't overcome a bad story.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Well, I got nothing more to say. Anything from you, sir?
I think I'm all tapped out.
Should we find somebody to raid?
Yeah, here's what I got. I got TG and I got Bubble. Everybody else seems to be offline tonight.
Oh yeah, there's not many people. It's Rizzle Fizzle is on. Star Wars. The SWU. I can't remember what they're actually called. But yeah, what are you thinking? TG's playing Grand Theft Auto 5. Bubble is playing Dragon Age Origins.
I think if we go to TG, he might be getting off pretty soon.
That's true. He was on when I was setting up for this.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You want to do Bubble?
Let's do Bubble. Dragon Age.
Which I have played. I haven't played the new Dragon Age yet, but hopefully I'll be able to start it soon. I got Dragon Age, the Veilguard, I got Star Wars Outlaws, I got Indiana Jones and the Great Circle all to play, and I'm too busy to play any of these games, but hopefully soon. Oh my god, I spelled it wrong.
Maybe during your Christmas break.
That's what I'm hoping.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now for those of you on YouTube, obviously rating is something we do on Twitch where we send our viewers to see another content creator, in this case Bubble. That is not something on YouTube, but thank you guys for coming out and watching us. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It all helps. It's free to you and helps our channel tremendously. And we will be back Sunday night. We'll be talking Creature Commandos episode 4, which dropped today, which we have not seen. Doug has seen it, and he really enjoyed it. So we're looking forward to talking about that on Sunday. Dave, any final words before we bust out of here?
Have a good night.
Crypto, take us home.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope
right.
you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.